There we go. Hi everyone, I'm back with another episode. This is the Ollie and Bella podcast and this is episode 26 and I'm in the kitchen today. I did plan on filming in the front room, but I thought because where I'd be sat, which is right by the window, it'd be noisy with traffic, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to set up in the kitchen. And now I've done that, it's quite nice to see everything out in front of me. I've made some notes. I've lost my notebook that I normally write my notes in, but I've made some notes because I has a head like a sieve and I can't remember after stuff. So I've wrote everything down, and I'm just going to jump right into it. I will just say a quick hi, just in case this is the first time you're watching. Welcome. This is a podcast all about my crafty projects, whether that be knitting, crocheting. I say sewing, but I haven't done that for a while. I really want to get back into my English paper piecing, which, do you know what? I plan to do that on the next episode. That's what I plan to do. And I am also going to chat about books, any goodies that I've got, that I've bought. That's it really. And I also have vlogs that you can go back and watch previous vlogs. I've actually got some footage from a lovely weekend that I had visiting a friend and some other little clips that I took beforehand, but I'm going to put that together. I'm going to merge all those little clips together and make a vlog. So hopefully that will be out by the end of the week, if not next week. And you can find me on Instagram. You can find me, if you enjoy reading, I'm on Goodreads, and I will leave links to everything down below. But of course, if you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, I'm going to jump right in. So first off, I'm going to start off with current whips. And I have made the decision this year to try and go into my cabinet where I store all my yarns, all my projects, and finally finish off some of those long forgotten whips. So that is the plan. Whether or not I stick to that plan is another thing. But first up, I'm gonna share my share my Sophie. I'm gonna share the Sophie shawl, which I think I did mention in my previous podcast, and I'd only started off and it was a really small section that I'd done. And I took this away with me at the weekend, and it was just the perfect knitting because it's really mindless. However, I in my head I am trying to remember what row I'm on because I don't want to mess up my rows. But this, I'm sure lots of you have already, look, little hand cream. Do you do things like that? Do you find little things that you've stashed away in your project bag? Normally it's chocolate in mine. But just in case you are watching for the first time, or you've not heard of this pattern before, or you're new to knitting, this is the Sophie shawl by Petite Knit, and it's a really lovely, basic, simple, classy pattern stroke shawl. The design of it is really classy, should I say, because it's just simple. And sometimes I do struggle with this phrase, but sometimes it is true, less is more, definitely. And I think that is the case with this. It looks like one of those shawls that, I mean, you could knit in any array of colours, and you could even knit a scrappy version if you wanted to. But I think having it in like a solid colour would be a great staple for your wardrobe, definitely. And I am using this, I am loving it so much. So this is alpaca, and it does say it is 65% alpaca and 35% wool, and it's the sand. Oh dear, we've reached that point already in the podcast, and already I'm struggling for words. Sandnesgarn yarn, and I bought some really lovely yarn at the weekend, which I will share with you as well. And the shop that I got the yarn at the weekend, I noticed she also stocked this as well, but I can't remember what website I bought this from. But I didn't write the name down either, the name of the colour. Hopefully that's showing you the number there, the code that you can go and find. But No Frills Knitting, she definitely stocks this. And there are some other colours. Now I'm knitting the large size, so I did buy what it recommends. But there's probably not much more I can tell you about this pattern, if I'm honest. I'm just using some Knit Pro Symphony needles. I think these are 4.5s, and I'm really enjoying using the yarn. It has a really lovely texture to it, and it has that halo. I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but it has that halo effect, which is really nice. And I've got it in my lovely bag, which was a gift from lovely Kathrin, Bed of Roses. Love Kathrin's her bags, her shop, all her wonderful, what's that stuck on the bottom? Oh, look at that. Can you see that? It's so sweet. That's from the blimmin' watermelon lollipop that we bought Jessie yesterday. That's been stuck on the table. Don't want that on the bottom of me lovely bag, do I? Yeah, pop across to Kathrin's shop. I will leave a link down below where you can go and have a little look at what she has available, but it's lovely. And I love this fabric. It's really lovely, and the design. I love it. So that's the first one. Probably best put my pattern back in there, and my hand cream. But if you are if you're new to knitting, I think this would be a really good pattern to start with. If you fancied knitting a shawl, I think you'd get on fine with that, because it's basically knitting. That's all you need to do is knit, knit, knit. Okay, done that one. So now we are going to chat about a project that is a long forgotten project. And it is my log cabin blanket. Now, if you followed me for a while, you would have seen these colourful squares. And I'm pleased to say that now I have finished my lovely patchwork blanket. I've been itching to pick this up actually and work on it, especially when it's been quite chilly, because this yarn is DK and it's just scrumptious. And the pattern I'm using is by Stacey Perry, who is known as Very Pink Knits on YouTube. It's a free pattern. That's what it looks like. And I'm not actually following it. I'm only going around. That's how big my squares are going to be. Because the idea was the yarn that I'm using, I didn't bring my other pack in, but the yarn that I'm using was from Tracy Nora George Yarns, which I'm not sure if Tracy's still dyeing yarn now, which is a real shame. So each month you would get a set of minis, 5 minis, and that's why I've decided to keep the squares that size, because I've just basically used one of each colour. So that's the size that they're going to be. And so I've picked it back up again, and it's been really lovely working on it again. I can't remember if I got it in here. That was June. I've kept all the little, oh right, I'm doing this one, which was, oh, isn't that funny? It was January's January's from 2021, and this is Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. So fun. I love the names that she picked for them as well. So this is how it's looking, and I've got this section here, and then along I've kept this lovely yarn, which to me, when I look at that, I just think of Easter. I'm not sure which one, left to right. I think this one is, yeah, Canary Creams, this one's called. Isn't that pretty, all those colours? It's really like a really Eastery feel to it, that colourway. So that's gonna be, because that was my favourite colour out of the set, I kept it for the longest part, the longest section on the square. So this is the latest one that I'm working on. And then what I plan to do is, and I think I probably mentioned it at the time when I last shown this on the podcast. Obviously I've got all these leftovers and I've got a big bag of them. Let me go and grab them. I'll be right back. These are all my leftovers, and I've even got a whole full set there. So I think I had said, do I stick to, when I knew obviously that I had enough left over to be making more squares, and I couldn't decide whether or not, once I'd made a square within that for the club, those colours, do I then just put them in here and then just, you know, as I make the next squares, just pull out whatever colour and make them up? Or do I keep the colours but just change the position of what they'd be? And I think lots of you just said, just mix and match it. So that's what I intend to do once I've made up this square, and then I've just got this one. But you know, looking at them all in here now, all these colours, and just like the names of them, oh, I wish she'd start doing that again. That was really fun, really fun. But anyway, so that is that one. I can pop that in there. I don't think all the squares going to fit in there, but that will. Ooh. And it's been really lovely knitting with DK, especially after making the Cozy Memories. I say Cozy Memories, but I also call it my patchwork blanket, which I will show you in a minute. And then next up, just looking down at my notes, is a sock. And this is my Christmas sock. I can't remember when I cast this on. Obviously around Christmas, and it's in one of my project bags that I kept for myself because I absolutely love this fabric. And I have purchased some more fabric, and I'm looking to do another update, which will be, I'm thinking the end of March. I'm thinking, yeah, end of March time. That is a rough estimate, but of course I will put a story up on my Instagram once I've got a definite date in my head. But yeah, I've got some new fabrics which I absolutely love. They're really colourful. And do you ever find that you've knitted your hair into your actual knitting? Look at that. I suppose it adds to the warmth, doesn't it? See, I'm going off on a tangent now. Yes, so but if you are interested, because I know from the last two updates that I did, they sold out really quickly, and I find that I have everything there prepared and it's ready to go, and I have to then individually. What's frustrating through Etsy is you can't upload all of your listings in one go. You have to then individually go through and make each individual listing live, and then sometimes it takes a little while for it to actually load, so that can be a little bit frustrating. But if you have favorited the shop, and I think it does let you know if items get posted or uploaded, so yeah, keep a lookout. But anyway, back to the sock. So this gorgeous yarn is from Biff Sugar Yarns, lovely Alison, and this was her Christmas colourway, and it was a mystery colourway, and the image that she put up around Christmas time was really lovely. It was so colourful. It just reminded me of like 80s, like an 80s Christmas tree. It was all different brightly coloured glass baubles. It was really fun. And the colourway she called it is Step Into Christmas. And this is on her 75-25. I'm just reading the back of it. 75/25 Superwash Merino, and here it is. Look at all those colourful speckles. Lovely. And it also had two 20-gram minis to complement it. And I think they're perfect. And so what I did is I used this one for the cuff, and then you can probably guess I'm going to use this one for the toe. And I've just done a plain, I was saying this actually on my my vlog, and I'll leave a link to it down below if you haven't watched it and you fancy watching it. I did a weekly vlog when it was half term, and I did chat a little bit about some socks, which I'm going to show you in a minute anyway. And I don't know about you, but I find that if a yarn is what I call a busy yarn, in terms of there's lots of colour. I mean, this one I guess would still look lovely with the pattern, but it depends what pattern. If it's a textured pattern, I guess it would be okay. But some yarns I think are really nice if it's just a plain knit and it just shows off the yarn itself. Some yarns that are like this, and then if you were to knit a really intricate, detailed pattern, I just find it gets lost. They don't complement one another, but that's my own personal opinion. So when there's like a yarn like this, I tend to just knit it, and I just enjoy looking at all the lovely colours and how they look knitted up. But I guess something like this in the texture, having said that, this one that I'm going to show you in a minute, that's a texture, and I think that looks okay. Yeah, let me know if you kind of understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so this is the first one. I've done the leg, I've done a, what do you call it, a shadow wrap heel. I am really enjoying those heels, and I did that on my gingerbread socks, which I will show you in a minute. Onto the foot, I'm knitting them on 9-inch circulars, and that's it. That's probably all I need to tell you for now. Hopefully I'll get them finished by the next one, because I really want to cast on all the socks. I've got a bit of a sock bug at the minute. So that's that one. Put that there. I'm just going to pile everything up next to me. And then I've got here a little note here, future plans. So I am hoping to cast on this gorgeous yarn, which is by Moonstone Yarn. Don't think she's dyeing yarn at the minute, but this colourway is so sweet, and it's called Peter, and it's got a little rabbit charm there. Peter Rabbit. I love Peter Rabbit. Look at that blue. That's lovely. And then she did such a good job on these really beautiful delicate speckles. And I am gonna hopefully wind this yarn up and get a pair of socks on the needles for Jessie, because she has really got into hand knitted socks, which is lovely, because none of mine, when I say none of mine, none of my family will wear knitted socks. None of them. Which I guess you might think is a good thing, because then it just means that I can just knit for myself. But it's, you know, when I watch other people's podcasts and they share socks that they're knitting for their partners, their family members, and I think, oh, none of mine want knitted socks, but Jessie does, which is great, because two reasons. Great, because obviously I would love to be able to knit for her, and secondly, her feet are the smallest out of everybody, so it means I knit them the quickest, which is fab. Oh, look at that. Need to take that over the rabbit yarn then. That wouldn't be good, would it? That is a future whip. That yarn is really lovely. Right, so put that back over there. Now I'm going to move on to the next section now, which is finished whips. I will start off with Jessie's socks. These, I did show these on the vlog, so if you have watched it, then you would have seen these. I know some people are vlog people and some people are podcast people and some people just like watching both, don't they? But it is interesting that the podcasts, and it's not just my channel, lots of channels when you look at them, the podcasts are the videos that get all the views. Anyway, going off again, aren't I? So these are Jessie's socks, and you can see why they don't take long to knit. She's only 5, and I did a plain knit. I've done a rib cuff, and then I used the magic heel on the back there because her feet are growing, and I thought, you know what, this is like the perfect heel to use. I mean, it's great for adults as well, especially if you're new to socking. Oh my. Especially if you are new to knitting socks, not if you're new to socking. This would just be great, just to try and get you familiar with a sock, and if heels frighten you, which, you know, they can be a little bit daunting, can't they? Then I really recommend this heel. And I know Judy from the Autumn Acorn, she has some new patterns coming out soon, which would be lovely. So that's probably it. And then I just did a normal wedge toe. And she loves them. She wanted to put them on this morning when she got up because it was really chilly, and then she comes downstairs and she had to put on her ones that I made her. The last pair I made her were the ones that she calls her LOL socks. And because there's a heel, I'd actually put a proper heel in that one. She's outgrown them. Whereas this type of sock, with it being like a tube, so to speak, she's going to get a longer wear out of these. So I'm definitely all about the magic heels, definitely. That is what I will definitely do for these ones. And she wanted to wear them, and I said, oh, they're in the basket for the podcast. She was like, okay, it's fine, I can keep these on. Bless her. So that's that one. And then next up, I have got my cobblestone socks, which I had done one on the previous episode, and I think I'd just done the cuff. But these are finished now, and I love this texture. Really lovely texture. But like oh, now Molly's crying. Like I was saying, look how the yarn looks knitted there, how lovely it is. And it's still lovely. And that's how it is texture. I mean, you're probably thinking, Cherie, I think you're overthinking it. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How we all have our individual like thoughts and everything about how we look at it, and how our brains are like, oh, it's a bit too busy for me. Or yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. For instance, like say you had like a plain solid yarn and you had a really lovely lacy sock pattern, that would just look fab. It would look lovely. It would really complement the pattern. But then if you knitted it and it was a really intricate lacy pattern, and then you knitted it in this type of yarn, I just don't think they'd complement one another. I think I am a bit of an overthinker, if you've not already gathered that. So that's that one. What else? Did I have anything else really to share about them? The Cobblestone Socks by Dana Ray Makes. She's got some really lovely patterns. Next up, I finished my gingerbread socks, and I love these. I actually had these on yesterday. I love the yarn, which is no surprise because I just love anything gingerbread related. And this is the West Yorkshire Spinners gingerbread. And I have to say, this is definitely, out of all their Christmas colourways they've come out with each year, this is definitely my favourite one. And then for the heels, I did the shadow wrap heel, and then I just did a wedge toe. I did these a little bit shorter, and they're lovely. They fit really nice. And I've got ample of yarn left. So do you know, are you good at, the sun's gone in. Are you good at making, when do you start? Oh, get your words out, get your words out. What are you trying to say? My brain's going faster than my mouth. At what point in the year do you start knitting Christmas gifts? Now, things like socks, if you're knitting them for adults, you haven't got to worry really about their feet, I guess, because everyone's feet's grown now. But if I start knitting for Jessie, because obviously, I think I'm just going to cut this bit out actually, because I think I'm just waffling on about a load of rubbish. I have a nice lot of this yarn left, so the plan is to make some gingerbread socks for Jessie nearer the time. She might have a little growth spurt, so I think I will, I'll wait until the end of summer maybe, because they won't take long. These would look nice as some wrist warmers as well, wouldn't they? They look really nice. That's that one. And then I've got these mitts were so much fun to make. I did share these on my previous vlog. Again, I'll leave it linked down below if you fancy looking. Now I didn't like, no, I'll wear that one on that side. I didn't like the cast off, and I did say that I'd definitely knit these again. Jessie actually wants a pair. Isabel's got these now. She loves them so much, she's got these. And I've got enough of the yarns to make myself some, because these are all gingerbread yarns that I did a swap with a friend on Instagram, and we sent one another little scraps of gingerbread yarn from lots of different yarn dyers. So it's really lovely to see. Let me take my scrunchie off. It's really lovely to see all the yarn dyers' interpretation of gingerbread yarn. And I didn't want them to match. I wanted them to have that really scrappy feel. I don't even think I've told you what the pattern's called. This is called the Everything November Mitts by Jen Yard. And I'll leave a link down below. And they're lovely. They hug your hands perfectly. I live in these, and these are, I forget the name, but these are by Petite Knits. I say Petite Knits, it's Petite Knit, but I can't help but put a "s" on the end. Molly's still crying, and I wear these all the time. I only have one pair, and this is a yarn that I dyed myself when I wanted to experiment what it was like dyeing yarn, and I held it with a strand of alpaca, Suri alpaca, and it gives it that really lovely snuggly feel. So but what I'm trying to say is it's the first time I've done a thumb gusset. I really like that, and with the because the way this pattern, I'm not sure how that is, how they do that bit. I made these years ago. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. So I plan on making, oh, that was it actually. When I was chatting to Jessie this morning, she said it would be fun to have matching socks and mitts in this yarn. So I'll definitely have enough for that. So really enjoyed making them. And I think, oh, this beautiful thing. Let me finish this coffee now. Can you drink cold coffee? Do you like it? I don't know if I like cold coffee. I can drink it, not cold tea. Blimey. You've got to draw the line somewhere, haven't you? That was nice. Right. I am on the second to last finished object, and that is the Just Feel Festive shawl by Quirky Monday Crafts. And if you watched my Vlogmas, you would have seen this. I started off with this colour. and then it slowly went through, and I loved making this. Absolutely loved it. Great for an advent calendar, which is what I used. I used my 2021 advent calendar from Camel's Yarn, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the yarn, I love the colours. This is a singles base, and all I did was hold it double, and I've been wearing it so much recently, just so you can see what it looks like. Put it on this way. And then I tend to fold, I cross it over in the front, and then the little tails I tuck up, and then I just reposition it. And what's lovely is you can decide what colour you want showing. So my favourite part of it are these. This is my favourite part, probably because it's more like gingerbread colours. But it's so lovely. I've had so many lovely compliments about it. If I remember rightly, on the pattern, it does have a tassel on the end, and I can't decide if I want tassels. I'm not normally a tassel person. What do you think, tassels or no tassels? Mind you, when I do see some of the tassels, the fuller tassels, they look really nice. Skinny tassels, they don't do it for me. I'd rather have a bigger tassel. Oh wow, overthinking again. Anyway, so if you have an advent calendar in your cupboard and you don't know what to do with it, and some of the patterns out there that you see, the knitted patterns, they look lovely, and you think, blimey, that's going to take me 10 years to knit. And if you can crochet, I recommend this, because again, when I've said before about less is more, you can't beat a granny stripe. You cannot beat a granny stripe. And it's just lovely. Or maybe you've got lots of scraps and lots of minis and you just want to use some up. Be lovely. And this would be a really quick project if you wanted to make a gift for somebody. Or maybe you're already thinking about this year's advent calendar. But it's, yeah, probably one of my favourite makes that I have made. Love it, love it. Put that over there. And then next up is, ta-da! I have finished it. Let me turn over my page. The end is in sight. So this is the knitted patchwork recipe. What's it called? I always get the name mixed up. Knitted patchwork recipe blanket. Anyway, you will find it down below. This is by Martine Makes. It's a free pattern, and I finished it. What's really funny is it does make me giggle, because the majority of people that make these lovely blankets are really big blankets, and they've spent years making them. And it's it makes me laugh because this has taken me years. Look at the size of it. It's tiny. It's only small. It's 90 squares. And I know some of you out there will be thinking, does that bug you? That it's not, I've not rounded it up to 100. But I started this when Jules, lovely Jules and lovely Kelly, started their Rainbow Chronicles, and Kelly's dyeing yarn again. So if you're thinking of a project, you could make a rainbow blanket, couldn't you? So I'm going to edge it. I'm going to do, I'm still going to, well, I need a really long cable. I didn't think of that, because I wanted to do like a log style edge on it. So along there, and it just would have been easy. And I'm going to use a natural undyed yarn. But then I thought, I don't know whether to crochet it. But then I think it will really change. It will change it if I add a crochet border. And actually, I'm thinking I'd want to knit. So but it is done. I've sewn all the ends in, which was so satisfying. And if I come up close, you'll be able to see how I've sewn them in. Hopefully you can see how I've sewn them in. And yeah, so I know I'm putting this in my finished, because I've technically finished it. I have finished it, I just got to do the border. And the idea that the reason why it is smaller is I wanted to see firstly how I'd get on with the pattern, because if you remember, I did start a northeasterly and I still love that pattern. It is lovely. Jules, So Sweet Violet, her northeasterly is just beautiful, but for some reason the sections, they take me so long, and I can sit and do a square a lot faster, and that's why I stopped and I frogged my northeasterly. So this was almost like a little project, even though, like I said, it's taken me years. I wanted to see how I got on with knitting a mitered square, and if I liked it. And do you know what? I feel sad that I finished it now. Well, it's bittersweet. I feel glad that I've actually finished it, because it's obviously a really nice feeling when we actually finish a project. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I've got so many lovely happy memories working on this blanket over the years, and I can definitely see me making another one, a bigger one. That will probably take me 10 years to make, but that's all right. That's all right, don't matter, does it? So yeah, let me know what you think about the border. But I love it. Just love looking at it. The idea is, because it is what you call a proper lap blanket, because it's quite small, isn't it? I plan on putting this over my armchair, my little chair that I've got by the window in my front room, and it just adds that pop of colour and it's lovely. So I am very, very pleased with it, despite the fact that it's tiny. Just look at it there, all folded up. Scrumptious. I'm going to quickly go and check on Molly. 1 minute. I am a bit out of breath because I ran upstairs, and bless her, she's finally settled on the bed. She's found a little bit of sunshine, so she's sunbathing. I will put a little clip in at the end of the podcast because it's so sweet. She looks so cute. Right. Blimey, I am unfit. I have come to the end of whips, projects. I'm going to chat to you about the next section. Now, normally I'd call this Happy Mail, but I've not received any of it through the mail. So I'm going to call it Goodies, the goodie section. Goodies. I had a wonderful weekend with my lovely friend Gaynor. I went and visited her, and we had like a little mini holiday. She said it was like a little mini holiday. It did feel like it. It's lovely. And we popped to a few places, and I'm going to show you what I picked up in those places. The first place that we went to was No Frills Knitting, and it is a beautiful shop. If you've ever visited there, or you're lucky enough to live near there where it is. And I picked up Double Sunday, and I picked it up in this really beautiful green. It's actually, the name for the colourway is Statement Green, and I picked up 3 balls. They're 50 grams each. I'm just looking at my notes, and I plan to make the weekend hat by Petite Knits. There was a sample in the shop of the Stockholm hat, and I really like the look of the Stockholm hat. However, the weekend hat recommends using this, and I thought, do you know what? It looks like a really simple basic hat. I'm going to stick to that, so it's going to be the weekend hat for this. I have not finished the Oslo hat. I don't know if I'm enjoying it. I'm really tempted to frog it. I'm really tempted to use some mohair and frog it and cast on the Simple Pleasures hat, because that was for Jessie and I've not finished that, and I have become a little bit more ruthless with my knitting now. If I'm not enjoying something and I've not picked it up in a long time, I literally have decided now that I'm going to just start frogging things, because what is the point? What is the point in some of the projects just sitting in the bags? Especially with the yarn, it's such a lovely yarn and it can be used for something else. So that is the plan. I'll let you know. So that's what I got there. And then the sun's gone. Oh, I thought that was a bit of thunder then. Not that it's raining or anything. The sun's hiding behind the clouds. Then so over the course of a couple of days or so, we went to Knits Universe, again, first time going there. And look at this. The sun's coming back again. I love this so much. I saw it. What was really funny, so I saw it and I didn't have a clue what I was going to make with it. And I said, oh, I've got to get it. I've got to get it. Look at that. Has it got my hair in it? Or is that the alpaca's hair? Is that not divine? Now, I know some of you are going to look at that colour and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But I look at that and think, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I mean, you can't get two opposites as much as them, can you? I mean, look at that. Oh, my taste is a bit different, isn't it? Anyway, I didn't know what to do at first. Didn't know what to make with it. But you know what? I'm gonna make can you guess? I'm gonna make a ranunculus. I love my ranunculus, and I'm gonna make another one. I'll probably make it a short sleeve one like the one I've got, because I think this would be perfect for the spring. The only thing I need to do is to get some 4-ply, and I only need 100 grams because that's all I used for my other one that I've got. And I think I'm going to have a go at dyeing 100 grams because I've got a 4-ply yarn. So I can have a go at seeing if I can dye something as close to this, because this is the colour I really want it to be. And it's just beautiful. So enough swooning over it, you probably want to know what it is. So this is Lang Yarns, and this is Alpaca Super Light. It does not have a shade, it doesn't have a name, I'm afraid, and I tried to look on their website and I couldn't find it on there. So that's the code. I don't know if that means anything. It probably is the code for the colourway. So 2 of them, and they're normally 25 grams, aren't they? Mohair. Yeah, they're 25 grams. So, oh, I love it. Happy days. Pile it up there. And we also went to, I can't remember the name of the sewing shop, really lovely sewing shop. The lady was so friendly, and we bought some labels. I got these, which is the multi-pack. And these are labels which you can sew into your garments. And you're probably all laughing because you like garments. You've only made one, which is what I'm wearing, which is the Felix. I love this. I really, really love this so much. And I would definitely knit it again in another colour. Some patterns are just really nice, aren't they? And you enjoy them so much that you'd like them in different colours for your wardrobe. And to be able to, the only way I can tell which is the front from the back is the way I've darned in the ends. And I'm going to use one of these labels to put in it so that I can actually know what is the back. And let me open them up. We've got, there was lots of different labels actually, different ones. This one has, they've got little metallic, the threads metallics. This one's original. I'm hoping you can see it. you are loved. I mean, these are probably more suited for someone that's actually making clothing, sewing clothing, because some of them it's about sewing, or one of them's called make. One of them's sewing is sexy. But they're really lovely. So I picked that pack up, put them all in there. I would really like to start knitting some garments. I do have a Andrea Mowry, the stripes on my needles, and I don't know where I've put it. I was going to share it with you. I'll share it with you in the next podcast, but I can't find it. And I'm using my Beehive Yarns advent calendar from many, many moons ago. But yes, there's so many lovely, wonderful sweaters and jumpers. Well, we call them jumpers over here in the UK. What next? I'm looking at my notes. Then we went to Tinsfield, which is a beautiful Victorian country house, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we looked around, was not allowed to film inside, sadly. I did take some photos, obviously was able to film a little bit outside of the grounds, but I will add that into my vlog that I will be putting up. But we popped into the secondhand bookshop that they had there, and I picked up this one, which is called Unsettled Ground by Claire Fuller, and it's hardback, and it was only £1. Got the receipt here. It was only £1.50, which I thought was really good. I was drawn to the front cover, if anything, and then when I read the back of it, I thought, ooh, that sounds like something I'd read, that does. It says, what if the life you have always known were taken from you in an instant? What would you do to get it back? And so, yeah, I'd let you know what that one's like. I found my National Trust handbook for this year, and I looked up, where is it? Lost me place. Oh, I looked up Tinsfield, and was reading about it in the handbook, because it's the first National Trust property that I visited within Somerset, and it was lovely. It was absolutely beautiful, and I am definitely going to go back there again, because most of the places that I visited are in Cornwall in Devon. But yes, we are National Trust members, which means that we are able to go and visit lots of different beautiful properties, and also it's not just that. Some of the beaches are looked after by the National Trust, aren't they? So yeah, but just think about how big that book is, all those places you can go. Also in the shop, again, I found this one because I'm close to finally getting a allotment. I've been on the list for many years, and I had a really exciting email to say that I'm coming up towards the top part of the list now, and they were just checking if I was still interested, which I very much am. And she found this one, and she said that it was only a couple of quid, and she said it was it looked like a really good book, and I picked it up because I thought, well, for a couple of quid, I mean, do you know how much a magazine is now? Popped in the shop next door, Jessie picked up a magazine and she asked if she could get it, and I remember the excitement of getting a magazine when I was younger. 7 quid! I was like, oh no babes, you're not having a magazine for that. 7 quid, no chance. Here you go, have this. Have Gardener's World for £2. What a mean mum I am. So I got that one. Let me know what you think of Jeff Hamilton, if you think he's good. But yeah, how exciting. I will eventually, I mean, I might be on the list for another year, especially now, since no one can buy any salad. But I did pick up something for her, and she's already done a couple of the activities, and this is the Peter Rabbit sticker activity book, the big outdoors. And now Molly's crying again, probably because the sun's gone in, that's why she's probably crying. Yeah, we've done a couple of the, we had to find the stickers there, put them in. Look at all those lovely illustrations. So yes, she did have that, bless her. I quite enjoyed helping her do some of that. So she's still got a few things left. So there's that one. And that was, oh, I've just remembered one other thing. So I picked that up from the actual shop, the actual main shop they have there, and some of this soap. Let me take it out, it's going to rustle. It smells divine. This is Toasted Crumpet, and it's in the scent Sweet Rose and Peony. It smells beautiful. It's really lovely. They had a few other ones there, but I was good and was like, no, I'm only going to get one. Oh, I love it. I can't decide if I'm going to put that in with my hand knit socks, or, mind you, then they're just going on your feet, aren't they? Or to actually use it. What do you do with your soaps? Do a lot of you just put them in your drawers? Right. Now I do need my notes because we're going to chat about books. So far this month I have read and listened. So my goal for this year, I can't remember, did I set it as 20 books or 25? I wanted to read more and spend less time wasting my time scrolling on my phone, just, yeah, when I could be sat there reading a book and doing something exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it is, if you are looking on your phone for something in particular, but you can just waste your time, can't you? I bet you've all done it. You sat there for an hour and you think, blimey, I haven't done anything. What could I have done within that hour? So my goal was to, if I found myself scrolling or picking up my phone, and I was picking it up just to pick it up, then to put it down and pick up a book instead. And it's working, it is working. So far I have read this month Black Beauty, which was really lovely. Sad. There was moments where it was sad reading it, but then it ended and it was such a lovely ending. I was really glad it had a happy ending. I remember watching Black Beauty on a Sunday, and I can remember the theme tune, and my gran and granddad, I'd always be with them, and they'd be cooking a Sunday roast, and it was lovely. I remember Black Beauty and Wrestle Gummidge very clearly, and I love both of them. And it was really lovely. I was lent a copy of it actually, and I was sad to hand it back. So I definitely need to get myself a copy of that, because it's the type of book that I would love to read to Jessie. I'd love to read that to her. She's probably a bit young at the minute, but it would be lovely. And I think it's one of those books, some people have a favourite book and they like to collect different copies. If they see a different copy of it, they like to pick it up, don't they? So definitely recommend Black Beauty if you've not read that before. And I listened to The Lamplighters. I didn't really enjoy that one as much, if I'm honest with you. I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that one. And I'll leave a link to Goodreads, because if you are on Goodreads or you enjoy reading, Goodreads is a place where you can go on and you can read reviews that other people have left about books, and you can follow people on there and see what they're reading, especially if you enjoy the same genre or you fancy something different. They also recommend books that you might like, and you can set yourself a challenge. So it'll tell you, and you can kind of keep track of where you are in your book, and you can update it if you're on this chapter or you've read or you've listened to this percentage of the book or whatever. So you can have a look on there. The Woman in the Window, I loved that. Absolutely loved reading it. And then I'm glad I read it before I watched the film. I thought the film was disappointing, which sometimes that is normally the case, isn't it? The films normally are never as good as the books. But the book was amazing. Loved that. And I finished Before the Coffee Gets Cold. That was really good. And Gallant, really enjoyed that. I listened to that on audio. And at the minute, I am reading The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. And this book is a detective book. It is about a lady who has experienced, she's currently taking time off from work at the minute, and she's invited by her brother to go and visit in the Swiss Alps, and he's having an engagement party, and the engagement party is actually in this building, which was a sanatorium, and it's now been obviously renovated. It's now a hotel, and somebody goes missing, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoy reading those type of books. I'm on that far. What am I, like just a little over halfway? And what's really lovely, the lady, the author Sarah Pierce, is actually from the southwest, and so she's from South Devon. And what's really lovely is some of the places before she gets on the plane, and when she's chatting in the book, the main character, who's Ellen, who plays the detective, there's places near me that she's put in the book, and that always makes it nice, doesn't it? I've got one more book, so I am on audio. So I tend to have a book or two that I'm reading, and then I always have a book on audio. The book that I am listening on audio is called The Nightingale by Kirsten Hanna, and it's based it's set in World War II times. It's in France, and it's about, I'm only just a little way into it, but the house that the lady, I can't even remember her name. That's not very good, is it? That's how far in I am. I can't remember the main character's name. What's her name? Anyway, her house gets picked, do they call it billeted or billet, where a Nazi officer is staying there, and she decides she's going to help with passing on information, and so far it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, and that's, yeah, I'm listening to that on audio. So I think it's really good having a book on audio to listen to, whether or not it's, you know, if you're going out for a walk, or you're doing some chores that you are that you're doing, and or little things like doing the dishes, putting the washing out, or something like that. I think it's really good if you can have an audio book, or you're driving somewhere. And so I have the app called Libby. So I listen to the audiobooks that I've mentioned to you, I've not paid for. It's through my local library, but I think Libby is an app that you can download. I've heard a few of you mention BorrowBox, so I think it's probably on the same terms as that. You can search on the app for a book, see if it's available as an audio, because not all books are, and then on mine it will say, because I've had to wait for this, I've had to wait for The Nightingale to come available. It will say there's only so many copies, and you have to put it on hold, and then as soon as that book's ready for you to listen to, you'll get within the app you'll get like a notification to say it's ready now. If you want to borrow it, you can borrow it, or if you're not ready, you can still stay at the top of the queue, but you can just push it back by a week or two. And yeah, really recommend it. So they're the two books, and I've nearly finished Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. which I'm also really enjoying. And I have a book from the library that I got, and his style of writing is really lovely actually, but some bits are quite hard to try and process. And so I had a look on YouTube, and I found somebody on YouTube that is doodling, and he's doodling the actual chapters, which is really good, because to be able to see things sometimes visually on paper, for me anyway, I can absorb it better and I can understand it better. So I found that really interesting, because I didn't realise that C.S. Lewis broadcasted Mere Christianity in chapters. He read parts of the book through the BBC on the radio back in the late 30s, early 40s. Yeah, I think it was then. I might have made that date up, you know. But he definitely did. He definitely broadcasted it through the BBC on the radio, the different chapters of the book. So that was really good. That's it for books. And then I've got my last little bit I've put about TV series. So we have just started last night watching Better, which is on BBC One, and it's one of those dramas which is about a police detective, and it's also about somebody who is he's a property developer, but he's a naughty property developer, I will just say. And it's just, I've only watched one episode at the minute, but it looks like it's going to be really good. So we've started to watch that. We are watching The Last of Us, which is on Sky, which is a post-apocalyptic drama. So if you like things like that, if you like things like Walking Dead, I'm trying to think of other series like that now, but it's really good. I'm really enjoying that. We are on, I think there's only a couple more episodes now, but there's a teenager who is immune to what's going on, and so they're trying to safely get her to it's set in America, and someone's trying to get her safely to a camp. I think it's a camp, because obviously her blood, and they'll be able to hopefully make like a vaccine that will immunize people. It's really good, really enjoying it. And we finally watched Wednesday on Netflix, myself and my eldest daughter, and we both really enjoyed it. And sadly, I don't think they're making a second series. I think the plan was to make a second series, but I don't think they are, unless that's changed. If I've got that totally wrong and you've watched it and you know about it, please let me know. And lastly, I've got, I haven't wrote one down that we literally devoured, and that was Happy Valley. Oh my, Sarah Lancashire is the main character who plays a police officer, and she is phenomenal. Absolutely love her. We devoured series, because over Christmas series 4 came out, and we went back and rewatched all of the series, and then we really enjoyed it. I did find series 1 a little bit uncomfortable to watch, and there was the last episode in that series, I literally was on the edge of my seat, and I don't think I actually took a breath. You know, when you're on the edge of your seat and it's really intense, and then the scene's over, and then you're like, I don't think I was breathing then watching that little bit. But it's really good. The writers did a fantastic job. So really recommend Happy Valley if you can get hold of that to watch it. I think we watched it all on BBC iPlayer. But what I was going to say just before then was I have started to watch again, because the new series is out, You. And I remember when it first came out on Netflix, we loved it, and we watched series 1, and then we started to watch series 2. For whatever reason, we got out of watching it, but I've carried on watching it myself, and so I've just started watching series 3, ready for obviously series 4's out now. And I had to quickly look up his name, but the main character is a character called Joe. He is so funny. The way they edit the actual episodes, he narrates what he's thinking in his mind, and it's just so comical, the things that he's thinking and what he comes out with is hilarious. He's actually played by the actor's actually Penn, is he called Penn Badgley? I'm really pronouncing that really bad, I know, but he's very handsome looking as well. I think he's got a really lovely look. It's very chiseled, dark hair. Looks, yeah, it's very nice looking. It's very easy on the eyes. I think that's it for TV. I think that's it. Let me know if you are watching, what series you're watching at the minute, what books you're reading, what projects you're working on. It's been so lovely to film a podcast and sit here with you. It's been really lovely. So if you've taken the time to watch this, fantastic, thank you. If you can like and subscribe, it just helps my channel, lets YouTube know to recommend my videos, my channel. Just it's all good, it's all helpful, and it's very much appreciated. And of course it doesn't cost you anything, so if you can do that, that'd be great. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.